Hi guys, this is Jojo from SC2 News, and this is a special episode of In the Spotlight. My guest today is no other than David Ting. He is General Manager eSports at IGN and describes himself on Twitter as being a nerdballer and powering IPL. David, how are you today?
Very good. Thank
Um,
you for having me on the show.
Thank you for being here. Before we jump into things like IPL 4 and all these other interesting things surrounding StarCraft and the upcoming tournaments and stuff like that, tell us a little bit about yourself. A bit about, I know you went to Stanford University, UCLA. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So I graduated back in 1991, started at here. So I've been programming for 10 years, managing technical teams. So really leading a life of an engineering leader for probably about 20 years of my career. So as I'm playing StarCraft, and this is being just a very competitive person, I fell in love with the esports community, and I convinced my management team here that we should do something about it. And since no one's interested in building it, I stepped up and basically built out the IGN Pro League here at IGN.
All right. So tell us a little bit about, before we jump into that, tell us a little bit about maybe your previous jobs. I know you worked for Yahoo Music. What kind of skills did you pick up there that are valuable now?
Yes, I worked at companies like IBM, Alta Vista, kind of like the
Yeah.
old search engine back in the days, as well as Yahoo and a various amount of startups. So one of the things that really, helps me is I worked in, the biggest companies like, the IBM, Yahoos of the world, where I learned really good processes. And also, I worked in startup companies where I had to do everything. So, startup companies such as Wise Connect basically require me to run everything from product management, engineering, to even IT. So that really helped me to understand what is required to be an entrepreneur. So having both sets of skills really, helps right structure, the right business sense behind like something that's undefined. Or up to this point, no one has been, extremely successful in the business, meaning that there's still like an early stages when you compare esports to traditional major sports. So and then that's why I always look back in my career and think that it must have it must have happened for a reason when I went through the various companies and really picked up all the skills that I have over the years.
Mm-hmm. All right. So pretty much esports is not just a job for you, it's more of a passion. Is that right?
That's correct. Just go into my personal life a little bit. Back when I was at Yahoo, a life-changing event happened. So I got into a near-death experience on a car accident. And at that point, I'm determined that I'm not going to budge anymore. Life is too short. And, I have the skills that's required to earn a good living. And it's really about doing things that are meaningful and I enjoy. So the real definition for me for being meaningful is that, in my career, I want to do something that people will remember me by. And that's really important for me. And then also, hopefully that's something that is great and it will benefit a lot of people. And that's what I've been working towards ever since that accident.
Mm-hmm. And and what is it you do now for IPL? I mean, you started it up,
I,
you're powering it. What kind of stuff do you do?
so I'm the general manager. So this means that I manage all aspects of IGN Pro League. So I mainly focus at this point. In the beginning, I focused on building out the operational aspect of the IPL. So when we started the league, the things I focused on are really like minimizing cost, building in automation in our processes, things that you'll think about as an engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and also perfecting the set of content, really testing it against the user market and find out which ones resonate with the users. So that's really my focus for the first few months there. Then next is really about laying the path for expansion and growth and defining the brand for the IPL. So what I've been working on is getting the casino deals done because I feel like that's a differentiator. I feel running, events in convention halls is a good experience, but it could be better. So I saw an opportunity for us to differentiate. And then also from a sponsorship perspective, I felt like in the past, a lot of leagues are notorious for losing a lot of money. Not saying that IPL does not lose money. We have not lost that much up to this point, and my goal is to really work closely with the sponsors as well as sponsors that are not traditionally with esports and get them to be passionate about esports. And that's a very time-consuming process, but at the same time, once that is set up, that will basically build up the basis for us to really compete against major sports and have the financial means to do so.
Mm-hmm. That's extremely interesting. Tell us a little bit more about the functional realities behind, for example, organizing a tournament like IPL. What goes into it? Because we, as the consumer, pretty much, we only see the casters, the players. That's our end of the story. Tell us a little bit about your end of the story.
Sure. The most difficult part for IPL right now is really locking down the venue and really negotiating with the venue to make sure that the space, the cost, as well as the support from the venue is worthwhile for our brand. So, for example, we started our first event at Caesar's Palace, which is an amazing place in Atlantic City, which is very difficult to travel to with the age restriction of 21 and over. So I worked with the casino and trying to, change the rules around it. And Atlantic City just seems to be a place where, there's so many legal restrictions that even though the people I'm working with want to work with me to make it happen, it cannot happen. So then we basically started to look for the rightful place in Las Vegas. And Atlantic City with Caesar's Palace set up such a high bar, so there's a very few people to partner with to basically set it up in the right way. So we talked to a handful of casinos. It is a very long deal negotiation process, and also we want to look to the other side, making sure that we have people who want to build this for the long term. It's not about one event. It's about creating a partnership that lasts for a long time. And I think that we're close to having that at the Cosmopolitan. Really, at our side, in the IPL side, we convinced our partners that this is a worthwhile venture for them to jump into. And for IPL right now, we need to really deliver on all results. Getting enough fans there, making sure the fans are entertained at the highest amount of level, and also make sure that from a financial perspective, both sides are hitting the metrics that have set up. We both walked into the deal expect to lose a little bit of money. For example, the Cosmopolitan set their hotel rate down to at $120 a night,
Oh yeah,
which
I read
is
about that.
unheard
Yeah.
of. Yeah, and then these are things that we both are making sacrifices to make it a success over the long haul. And I think and then right now it's really about IPL4 and beyond, really delivering for our partners.
Mm-hmm. A viewer just asked live in the chat, because he lives in New Jersey, he's gonna ask you if you will come back to Atlantic City, but he says it sounds kind of like a no.
It is a difficult one. Casinos just say that it is a small circle, and it's a very traditional industry, meaning that if you go with somebody that's not them, they view as you basically, working with a competitor.
Okay.
And then it gets very difficult to massage our relationship to go back there. One of the things I think is a high likelihood in partnership with JSL, one of the things that we're aiming for is to really start delivering the traditional sports numbers. So a lot of the times people say, hey, IPL competes with MLG. For me, I said it many times, that's not interesting to me. If I, started a business basically to take out existing competitors, that's not That's not the way to run it. So the real thing to look at here as a community is how do we build up the fan base to basically rival, like say NHL, Major League Soccer here in the United States, and eventually like NFL or FIFA, over time.
Yeah.
Because I believe the traction that we have with esports, there's really no ceiling because the accessibility of it, as well as the entertainment value of it, and also changing the format of the game. There's so much room for imagination right now that it just right now it's just really in its infancy, and that's the exciting thing about this. It's just like the internet. When
Yeah.
Yahoo started, he felt like Yahoo's the best that can be, and now there's Facebook, Google. There's so many great sites, and it's constantly innovating. So we're really for esports. The thing that excites me is that we're bringing a culture of innovation into this industry. So going back to this long-winded answer for it, if we can, set viewership numbers that equates to like say NFL, Super Bowl, 3 million concurrent viewers worldwide. Great number, but I think in the esports world, it's achievable. Then any venue in the world will be open for us to host our event. And that's really what we're shooting for.
All right.
So going back to Atlantic City
Mhm.
is difficult, but I think that the door is not closed. It just really requires Atlantic City changing things in order for us to make it happen. Like, for example, 21 over restriction. We'll want to work with the city to change that because we want, just like Vegas, there's no age restriction in entertainment venue.
Mhm.
So that's a thing that we had to work toward. And on top of it, Atlantic City itself is great, but then it's hard to get to. So we'll have to figure out means of transportation for the players and the fans who are outside of the area to get there.
Mhm. Yeah, coming back to what you said about esports rivaling traditional sports, pretty much. IPL4 has this slogan saying a new age of esports has arrived. So talk to us a little bit about IPL4 in Las Vegas at your headquarters. What's this new era of esports?
Sure. So one of the things I feel about esports, and I think this is going into GSL and the Super Bowl, is that it has to be an extremely entertaining event. On top of it, for me, I said it a few times before. I designed the venue as if I am the fan, and I'm definitely a super fan. So I feel like the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas is one of those venues that are truly special. The decor is extremely upscale. And when you see our event that's coming in less than 3 weeks, actually 4 weeks, what you'll see is that if you're there in person, it is just absolutely stunning. Like I wish my house could look like half of that that stage. So it's about like bring that high level of the quality of the venue itself, high level quality of production, and also treating the players right as they are stars, right? So doing everything at the highest possible level of standard. And I feel like we're getting close. And then seeing IPL3 as basically our first live event, you feel like it's really good. What I feel is why IPL4, our goal is to raise the bar, by making it, almost twice as good. IPL5, I cannot say that anymore, but I feel like, the no age restriction is important, and we delivered. Having a city that's easy to fly into and easy for people to get to the event, we delivered. And also offering, high quality at the lowest price point is something that I believe that we did our best to deliver.
Hmm.
And this is why I believe that's a new age of esports, just having that, getting people spoiled. And then really like, for example, Cosmopolitan, it's only opened a year and a half ago, brand new casino, the number one casino referred to by many periodicals. Like it is really the place to go to in Las Vegas,
Hmm.
and they're running an esports event. That's what I feel like. This is really a new era,
Hmm.
and basically beginning of a new chapter for the IPL.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And from what you've talked about, I kind of get the feeling that it's pretty much the opposite to what IEM is doing at the moment. I mean, they're still running events at conventions. One of the major points in favor of that is that at conventions you have a big number of viewers that are not necessarily there for esports or StarCraft. So that has the potential to bring in new viewers. What's IPL's approach to that, to bring in people who are not yet into that StarCraft 2 or esports scene?
That's a great question. So if you didn't know, last weekend we ran basically similar with IEM. We basically ran a tournament at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas.
Yep.
So I believe that IEM has a great approach where basically I think it's about converting number of fans, people who don't know about esports into esports. So South by Southwest, we're at the Screenburn Arcade. I was talking to the organizer for the event. They didn't have high expectation, which is good. So we brought in a lot of crowd, a huge crowd for StarCraft. Basically, we're almost in violation of like the fire safety regulations, because like in the hallways, it's very, very narrow. There are like 6 people like squashed in, to watch the event. There's just no more room to have anybody to sit there. Like, for example, I had a VIP seat. I left my seat for like 3 minutes. Somebody ripped off the VIP sign and sat in the seat. And I didn't feel like kicking them out because there are just so many people who waited, so much time to get into the event. So I basically sat on the side of the stage. So there's a lot of the people at the convention hall, when I talked to them, they changed their mind about esports. They said, the first thing they said was, oh, wow, it's raining, there's thunderstorm outside, and yet this thing is packed to the maximum capacity. So the event organizer told me, he said, next time I'm going to give you the entire hall. And when I talked to, like, say, some of the people at the other booth, they say, wow, I didn't realize that esports is that big. And to each one of them, I basically tell them, I say, yeah, exactly. We can definitely take and fill up the next hall, the entire hall next year. And to basically the other people, I say, yeah, absolutely. These are things where I tell you that, the passion of the fans, it's, for real. Now you're experiencing it. Now you should try to enjoy it too, just like any sport. Just have to learn it, and you begin to enjoy the personality as well as the gameplay around it.
Mm-hmm. So for this whole idea of of a globalized StarCraft scene, as you mentioned earlier, maybe even challenging FIFA in numbers, this sort of stuff. I think it's really important to start partnering, to start cooperation between different leagues and stuff like that. You are doing that right now with GOM and the GSL. Are you
Yes.
planning on continuing that? And in
Absolutely.
what form?
So we are working basically a 2 event deal this year.
Mm-hmm.
So basically for IPL 4 and IPL 5, GSL is going to host their finals at our event. So if the schedule works out, we're hoping to have the GSL instead of GSTL final at IPL 5, which gives basically a different format, a different experience for the viewers. In addition to that, you have to also see that we have more games, right? And we're working on League of Legends and working on other titles. So we're figuring out ways to partner with different partners for each one of the games. For example, there's a partner we're looking into in Asia that will allow us to run multiple regional tournaments in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Taiwan for League of Legends. We're talking to DreamHack, for example, and with DreamHack, we're looking at ways to cross-promote our fighting genre and really convert more fans to enjoy that and have the fighting game community enjoy the esports interpretation of the games itself. So, within the States, we also partner with various organizations. I think the only one that we have trouble with right now is MLG. With UK, we partner with Multiplay to run like a regional qualifier, and we'll continue to work on those if the economics work out. So definitely we're open to partnering with different organizations as long as we feel like it basically matches what we're trying to do, is just really increase the popularity of esports.
Mm-hmm. So you just touched upon the subject that you include, of course, many different games. What kind of role does StarCraft 2 play in this ensemble of games? I mean, we see at the moment that League of Legends is getting a lot of popularity. Do you see StarCraft 2 falling behind?
I think that in terms of viewership, League of Legends for us looks like will surpass StarCraft 2, just in my just looking at the trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
I personally love StarCraft 2. That's why I started IPL, and I think that Blizzard is doing quite a few things that will help the community, like starting to the Road to the Worlds type initiative, having multiple tournaments supporting the scene, not like before where they really do not want to, they feel like esports is something that community does that they do not need to support as much as they are doing today. So I feel like if Blizzard continued to focus on that and move that direction, I feel like there's a huge opportunity ahead for StarCraft 2 being like the soccer of esports. And I think that also includes on improving the game engine. For example, Riot updates their software every 2 weeks, and their experience keeps on getting better. And I know that Blizzard is working on improving BattleNet, and they should set goals to basically make it easier to use and make it easier for esports as well, because I believe that a lot of their growth is going to be dictated by esports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big factors of League of Legends having these many viewers is the fact that you are linked to the live streams of major events right in the game. Do you
Yes.
think that might be something for Blizzard to look into, for StarCraft 2?
Absolutely. And then on top of it, I think that the growth in Asia is something to look at too. And this is why, we're looking for partners in Asia first for League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we found like over half of our views are from Asia. And the fan base, the Dota-based fans are being converted because Riot is doing such a great job into, League of Legends fans. And I see that conversion speeding up.
Mm-hmm.
So this is again going back to our discussion. That it's really about creating a global presence for esport and making sure that barrier is gone. For between different languages as well as different regions in the world. So I see that there's a huge growth. If we talk about StarCraft, is really growing the China scene. Growing some of the Southeast Asia scene. That's why we did a couple of experiments there. We'll continue going to do experiments looking for the right partners. And I believe that's something that, GOM and GSL did a great job for StarCraft. And I see that there's potential for other organizations to step up, just like, us, DreamHack, as well, MLG and GSL and KESPA has done. There's room for other organizations with large geographic territories and be very successful. And basically really preaching the esports gospel and just really pushing the popularity in their local region.
Mm-hmm. And talking about the streaming feature again, do you feel you have much say in that kind of in these kinds of decisions with Blizzard? How well do you communicate? Do you have any impact on those kinds of changes, you think?
Not really. So we work closely with the esports organization, and I think they've been doing a really good job with us, helping and promoting the community. But their hands are tied because if you look at Blizzard, the traditional model is really, selling more copies of StarCraft. So they don't really yet correlate like how big the esports community is, to basically number of copies of the game. So I don't think that they're dedicating enough of their resources to build it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that, there's a, new director who's in charge of, esports there. I hope that he gets more years at the upper level of Blizzard so that they can spend more resources on supporting the feature set that, us, the fan base want. So fingers crossed on that, because I know that they're hiring quite a few people, revamping BattleNet. So I hope that they're very open with their specs, when they're putting together specs for the new BattleNet, and so that we can get involved in helping them build it out.
Mm-hmm. Talking a bit about thinking outside the box again,
Mm-hmm.
you said, there is so much potential for esports to grow. I feel I talked to Kennegat, he's the marketing manager at Team
Yes.
Liquid.
Yes.
And he said he was always talking about thinking outside the box for streaming, because all the streaming right now is done within this Twitch TV, Justin TV kind of setup. But I mean, we are, as you said, it's the internet. There are so many ways to go beyond that, to include different features, more features. Is there anything like that coming up with Twitch TV, or maybe even without Twitch TV? Something more up to date
Yeah.
in a way, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and I think that Twitch is doing a good job because being a technologist, what is they're basically taking away from each one of us is like the CDN cost, which is
Hmm.
very cost prohibitive because you're charged for the peak of your usage. For an organization like Twitch and Owned, it makes sense because they're running so many events that the peak, if you only have one event a month, you only pay for the peak. It is very expensive, but for them, it's a lot more affordable because they have so many events. So I think a platform or multiple platform, like, there's a bunch of them. There's Blip TV here, there's Ustream, there's probably a ton that I don't mention. The one that, I'm looking at, are basically the big ones. So Google has YouTube. They're working on YouTube Live. So, for example, there's guests that we have from YouTube Live at IPL4 just to check out the location. I'm trying to get them really interested in esports. There are guests from Microsoft. Microsoft is building what's called the cloud. So the cloud is very, very vague in definition. So part of the cloud is actually, video transcoding, encoding, as well as distribution. So there's basically a guest from Microsoft there as well to basically attend the event. So for me, it's about spreading the love to the enterprises. So, in an enterprise level, like, big organizations like, Microsoft and Google would come in love with, what we're doing and invest in the infrastructure needed so that technology is accessible. And basically, just like there's many leagues, there's many platforms that streamers could choose from to basically, stream the game. And of course, like, a great relationship with Owned and Twitch, and they're constantly improving their platform. So, I think we're sitting in a really good spot being content providers, that the technology is going to be evolving very quickly because there's no one dominant platform yet.
Hmm. All right. Let's talk a bit about, because it has been an issue in the community, or it has been discussed a lot in the community, monetization of esports, with MLG starting Winter Arena as the first pay-per-view kind of model of monetizing esports. IPL is doing lots of events, like the Stefano Whitera show match that was just I think yesterday or the day before.
Yes.
So you do a lot of events. Are you discussing at the companies different ways of monetizing these? Will you stick to freemium? Will you go with season passes? Will you have certain events like these show matches, for example, that are purely sorry, I messed up here. That are purely paid by sponsors, or pay-per-view, all these sort of things?
Yeah, so we definitely want to start charging for HD, but we want to make things simple and affordable. That's basically the doctrine I have is that, I remember when I was a student, I only had $20 to spend for the whole week. So we want to make it so that, more people can access it if they really want it. So we definitely will still stick to a freemium model. Mm-hmm. Anybody can get up to 480p for free. So that they, again, it's more about growing the size of the community versus like really trying to monetize them right now. Mm-hmm. And then for us, our HD plan is really simple, and we're not going to charge pay-per-view. It's really about, if you love our stuff, you just pay $5 a month, and you can cancel anytime. So it's basically going to be launched for IPL4, and if you just pay for IPL4, HD for IPL4, it's only $5, and you get to view all IPL content in HD, for basically the entire month. And if you decide to continue because you like our stuff, which is our hope, it's just $5 every month, and then it just really more speaks to the traditional esports the traditional sports model, where, like, if you think about it, ESPN in the United States, when you subscribe to cable, it is really, they're getting $3 per subscriber to ESPN. I think that's a figure I remember from a book. So that's what we want to do too. It's just making that content where it's a monthly subscription model, and it's more about the challenges on us to produce engaging content so that people want to subscribe for the entire year. And I feel like that's our philosophy in growing that. And I know that just to address the Winter Arena a little bit, I know Sundance said that the sky is falling if people don't support pay-per-view. I think that's for the way he looks at it. For as far as IPL, the reason why I started within IGN is to leverage the infrastructure that has already been built here. And for us, I believe that we going to be break even or better in the next 12 months, and we're tracking to that.
Mm-hmm.
And it really talks, in the beginning where I talked about, building up the network of sponsors that work with us for the long haul. That is really the work that's necessary to make esports sustainable and affordable for everyone. And, that's what I'm working on behind the scene. And so from a fan perspective, when you see a sponsor, every time you basically, at live events, shout out, really, on Twitter, just really show excitement that you have toward the brand. It's really helping esports because the sponsors were willing to basically pitch him more to really advertise to us being the fans. So that's the way I see it. And then that's my perspective. Other people have probably vastly different opinions.
Mm-hmm. I am actually a big fan of that, as a fan. Obviously. Okay, I know you have quite a tight schedule, and we're almost at an hour. So yeah, maybe as a last thing, do you want to give some shout outs to the community, to sponsors, etc.?
Sure. I want to give shout outs to AMD, Kingston, as well as Astro for sponsoring South by Southwest events, and for all the potential sponsors that are coming up. I'm not going to name them, but we definitely want to treat you right for IPL 4 and beyond. And then also a huge shout out to all the esports fans. I'm just one of the fans when I look at it. I'm just privileged to be in the position which could influence a company like IGN to do the right things for the community. Just keep on letting us know what we're doing right or wrong. It's really important for us to understand what you like and what you don't like, so that we can continue to tune our content to meet your needs. So the more you give us feedback on Reddit or just directly to us, the more helpful it will be for growing esports over time.
Thank you very much for this very insightful interview and for your time. And yeah, I hope to maybe welcome you again one day.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime.
All right.
Thank you for the opportunity, and have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.